I want to speak to you tonight about our effort in Afghanistan.
What we need is to have a stable Afghanistan.
We want a prosperous, stable, secure Afghanistan.
This administration took a gamble. It's staked American prestige and our national security on the premise that it could go in and rebuild a functioning democracy.
We're going to give an opportunity to the Afghan government to build up its security forces. We're going to help them with some development. We're going to allow them to stabilize.
So far, each time that we've made an assessment of how that gamble has paid off, it appears that it has failed.
Afghanistan is not lost, but for several years it has moved backwards.
In Afghanistan, we've still got a lot of work to do.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have determined that it is in our vital national interest to send an additional 30,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan.
It is now the President's position and the administration's position that despite these failures, we now have to put more young American troops at risk.
Now we must make a commitment that can accomplish our goals.
We're doubling down. We're going to keep on going. Maybe we lost that bet, but we're going to put a little more money in because now we've got a lot in the pot, and we can't afford to lose what we put in the pot.
That's why I ordered more troops and civilians, committed more resources, more helicopters, more intelligence and reconnaissance capabilities, more special operations forces, more armored vehicles.
The fundamental question that the American people, and I think every senator on this panel, Republican and Democrat, are having to face now is, at what point do we say enough?
After 18 months, our troops will begin to come home.
It seems as if a solution to the problem is always 6 months away.
President Karzai's inauguration speech sent the right message about moving in a new direction.
You continually say that we've got assurances that it is going to be different this time.
We will seek a new compact with the Afghan government that cracks down on corrupt behavior and sets clear benchmarks, clear metrics.
What are these specific benchmarks? Where are these written? How can we examine them?
We'll consistently assess our efforts to train Afghan security forces and our progress in combating insurgents. We will measure the growth of Afghanistan's economy. We will review whether we are using the right tools and tactics to make progress towards accomplishing our goals.
Why would we not want to explicitly condition in whatever supplementals or appropriations or whatever it is that you are doing that these benchmarks be met so that the American people and legislators who are voting on them have some understanding of what it is that we expect?
There's got to be an exit strategy. There's got to be a sense that this is not perpetual drift.
What are the consequences if these benchmarks are not met? What leverage do we have that would provide us some assurance that 6 months from now you will not be sitting before us again saying, well, it didn't work. We have lost an additional 100 or 200 or 300 or 400 American lives. We have spent an additional $100 billion.
The world cannot afford the price that will come due if Afghanistan slides back into chaos.
But we still can't afford to lose, and so we're going to have to proceed in the same fashion, and maybe we'll have to send more troops in. Well, what leverage do we have 6 months from now?
July of 2011, next year, we're going to start thinning out our troops. But we've got to finish the job that we started.
Are you telling me that if in 6 months or whatever time frame you are suggesting that in fact the government has not performed these benchmarks, which by the way remain not sufficiently explicit, I think, for a lot of us to make decisions on, but let's assume that that surfaces over the next several weeks as this is being debated, that at that point you are going to suggest that we are going to start phasing down our troop levels?
We will execute this transition responsibly, taking into account conditions on the ground.
Are there any circumstances that you can articulate in which we would say enough is enough and we are no longer committing our troops?
The United States of America does not quit once it starts on something.
Look, war is always tough.
The road ahead will be long, and there will be difficult days ahead.
Afghanistan is not going to be easy.
None of this will be easy. I have no illusion that this will be easy. In Iraq, we had success in reaching out to former adversaries to isolate and target al-Qaeda in Iraq. We must pursue a similar process in Afghanistan while understanding that it is a very different country.
In many ways, and this is not my assessment, this is the assessment of commanders on the ground, is Iraq was actually easier than Afghanistan.
I think you get a sense of how weighty and painful this process has become.